First is the cumulative enrollment, which is a count of all students with an open enrollment at any time during the academic year. This includes any enrollment from the prior academic year of 2024-25 that bled into the 25-26, which are those summer enrollments from July 1st up to August 15 of 2025. The adjusted cumulative enrollment is a count of students with an open enrollment that starts in the current academic year only. So the adjusted count is a subset of the cumulative enrollment that excludes students whose enrollment started in the previous academic year. So example are students again attending summer school to complete their 12th grade graduation requirements. So the cumulative enrollment is used as a measurement of school and district size. Um, it is also basically used as the denominator for different in calculating different rates in the California dashboard, namely the suspension rates, expulsion rates, chronic absenteeism, truancy, and stability rate. So let's now discuss the next data point, which is the RFEP status. An English learner can only be reclassified as RFEP after meeting all four criteria lined up in Education Code 313F, including earning and overall performance level 4 on the summative LPAC testing. Once a student is reclassified, the LEA must update the SILA record in CalPADS as soon as possible. After reclassification, students will no longer take the summative LPAC and are no longer considered at risk of becoming long-term English learners. So here's just some SILA status reminders for in relation to end of year reporting. So for 2025-2026, the summative LPAC and summative alternate LPAC testing window ends on May 31, 2026. After that date, the 2024-25 results can no longer be used for reclassification. So to avoid issues, LEAs are encouraged to test potentially eligible students by May 15, 2026. This ensures results are available in time for reclassification decisions. LEAs should also plan to update RFEP statuses in CalPAS by May 15, 2026, because RFEP updates are sent to TOMS nightly, and students who are RFEP in TOMS by May 31, 2026 will not be required to take the summative LPAC. So the additional reminders here is to ensure transfer students' records are updated within 10 days. And you also have to assess TBD students with the initial LPAC within 30 days of enrollment. So the key takeaway here is that timing matters. Early testing and timely CalPAS updates prevent unnecessary testing and ensure accurate accountability reporting. So this slide explains how to handle RFEP reclassification that occurs over the summer. Students should be reclassified as soon as they meet all four reclassification criteria. And of course, the English language acquisition start date must reflect when that actually happens. So here are the guidance. If a student is reclassified after the last day of school and will not be returning, the RFEP date should be the last day of school in this current academic year. So this ensures the student is counted correctly for state reporting. If a student is reclassified after the last day of school and will be returning, the RFEP date must be at least 1 day after the enrollment start date of the new school year. Okay. We recommend you refer to Flash 3 2022 for additional guidance. So the next one is the graduate exemption indicator that is incorporated in the student enrollment record. So LEAs are required to identify and report students who graduated with an exemption from local graduation requirements beyond the statewide minimum coursework requirements. For eligible students, the graduation exemption indicator must be marked Y in CalPads. These students should also be exited with an E230 exit reason code and a school completion status code of 100. So SB 532 applies to specific student groups who enter the school after the second year of high school, including foster, homeless, former juvenile court school students, military family students, migrant ed students. For English learners, eligibility applies to new immigrant students in their third or fourth year of high school. It's important to remember that this exemption applies only to local graduation requirements. Students must still need to meet statewide graduation requirements to earn that diploma.